Hello YouTube, hello everyone, this is your Yahoo Weeps, and I'm going to be talking about the calendar. Um, some symbolism in the calendar. Okay, if you have the year, now if you look in nature, you see that the year goes through some cycles. There is a season of death, winter, when the plants die, the leaves die, plants die, things are covered in snow, so the life is not seen. It's like a layer of death. Now it can be a pleasant death when you play in the snow, but it is a season of death. And when it's really cold, if you don't are not adequately covered, you may die in that snow because it's too cold. So, season of death. Now you also have, after the season of death, you have the spring with the renewal of life. Life comes up. The snow melts. The waters basically, the waters from the snow and everything waters the ground. It rains. The plants spring up back to life. So you have a season of renewal, and it's like a beginning. Then you have a season of full life in the summer, where the plants are thriving, and the plants are, things are in bloom, and there's warmth and heat. So it's a season of full life. Then you have where it starts to decline, and you have the in the fall, when the leaves start to die and the plants start to wither. So you have the fall with the decline. Then you have winter again, which is the season of death. The plants are the leaves are dead, the trees are barren. Um, Not all of the trees, of course, there's the evergreens, but a lot of the plants are barren or covered in snow, symbolically dead. They look like they're dead, that you don't see a lot of life on the ground, and in nature, everything looks dead, like it's covered in snow, covered in a form of death. So you have this cycle. Now, um, logically, it would make sense for the year to begin with the renewal of life. You see the renewal of life. So the year begins in the spring. And if you look in Scripture, you find that in Scripture, the Creator says that the year begins in the spring. That's when the year begins. So, according to nature and according to the Creator's calendar, the year would begin in the spring, and it has that cycle, a cycle of life symbolized in the year. Then, of course, you have the month. Well, the word month is related to the moon. So you see the moon going in cycles, and the moon goes through a full cycle, and it takes a month to go through the cycle, 28, 29 days. Now, at the beginning of the cycle, the moon is dark, you don't see it, but then you see the sliver of the new moon, and you know the cycle is start to begin again. And when it's beginning, you see it's starting, it's at a beginning, it's at a renewal, and it increases and increases until there's the full moon, which is like the fullness of life. And then it starts decreasing after the full moon. It starts decreasing, almost like it's withering and going away, until there's no visible moon, symbolically death. Okay, um, so yeah, you have these cycles over and over again, month after month after month. And of course, you can divide. It would make sense to divide the cycle of the moon to where, say, if you divide it into 7 days, 7 days into the moon cycle, you have half of the moon is full, half of the moon is light, and then 2 weeks into the cycle, you have the moon is completely full, and then 3 weeks into the cycle, you have the other half of the moon is full, and 4 weeks into the cycle, you have the moon is dark, it's dead, it's no longer there. So it makes sense. Um, and if you, I've heard that there is some people that believe the full moon is actually the beginning of the month. But symbolically, that would mean that you have the fullness of life at the very beginning, and then it starts to decline until in the middle of the month, it's a picture of death. So that's the primary focal point symbolically for the month, is a picture of death. And then it starts to increase again until it gets to the beginning where it's the fullness of life. So fullness of life, decrease till death, which is the primary, the midpoint of the month, the primary point, and then it starts increase to where it's full again, it's life again, full life again, um, and then the cycle repeats. So the moon being dark in the middle of the month symbolizes death. That would be like saying that the year should begin in the middle of summer, um, so that the primary middle part of the year is winter when everything is dead. Not according to scripture. So that's what I see with some symbolism with time. Now, of course, there's the days. The day kind of goes through the same thing where the day, actually, according to scripture, the day is more cyclical than just divided into blocks. But it starts out with darkness. So just like in Bereshit Genesis, when the creator is making, he says, first there's dark, then there's light. First there's death, then there's life. First there's the bad, then there's the good. First we have to go through this life of trial and adversity, a life of tears and difficulty, and then there's the good. After this life, there will be a life that's just ultimately and completely good, and that's all there will be is good. So we see in our day, the sun rises after the death. The sun rises, so it starts the renewal, and it builds and builds and builds until midday, which is the fullness of the sun. It's like the fullness of life, and then it starts decline, just like in life, where it goes, it's declining and declining until it's gone, and there's death. So there's all these symbolic pictures. All of time has all kinds of symbolic pictures of life and this cycle that we're going through. And just like even in life, we go through the time of like you wake up and you go through your day and you accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish through the day, and you live through the day, and night comes, and at some point in the nighttime you go to sleep, which is a form of death. You lose consciousness. You're not aware of what's going on. But then you're not really worried because you know that you're probably going to wake up. There's a very good chance that you're probably going to wake up. And then the process repeats. And so it's a symbolic picture over and over and over again, training you for the final sleep, death, which will be a sleep. It'll be like going to sleep. You'll lose consciousness. You won't be aware of what's going on. And the next thing you know, you're waking up to a new life. So all symbolic picture. So yeah, the symbolic picture of time, um, according to the creator's calendar, according to nature's calendar. I can't say nature's calendar because nature is just a description of the creation. So it's not like nature is actually an entity. It's the creator's calendar, the one who made us and made all of creation. Who is beyond gender. I was going to say his calendar, but I'm using his in a generic sense since he is beyond gender, and you could easily refer to him as she, because he has feminine qualities also. So you can't just consign him to one gender. It doesn't work. But yeah, that's what I see with the symbolism in his calendar, and how the month, if you look at the month, if you use nature to determine time, you can see there are equinoxes where the amount of daylight is equal to the amount of darkness, and those happen twice in the year, once in the spring and once in the fall. So if you're going to begin your year, it would make sense to do it at the time of the equinox, and I believe that happens, it's the first new moon after the equinox starts the new year. So you can use nature, you can use the lights in the heavens to determine time, to tell time. You could even get it down to the second if you were so inclined, but you can use it for the years and months and weeks and days and hours. You can determine time just from using nature, the creator's calendar. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been interesting. Feel free to comment, leave feedback, whatever you like. And I hope you have a very good day, very good life, very good night, evening, morning, dinner, breakfast, whenever you watch this. Shalom, thank you. Au revoir. Do svidania. Slán. Auf Wiedersehen. Ni hao. Sabai. Bye.